Good afternoon, it's Tuesday. Welcome to Sava's Way of Life. Today I was going to talk a little bit more about that book I mentioned yesterday and about the metaphorical, philosophical causes of cancer. But so much has happened today, I haven't had the time to sit down and consider that. And given the way of life I lead, I have to go with what the priorities are, which are my parents, which are the weather, nature, because I'm in the garden all the time, and all sorts of other things that happen in life. And in those cases, you always put community, family, and those priorities first. It's okay, it's not the end of the world. I'll do that tomorrow. We've had a marvellous weather today. So what I thought I'd share with you is what I am doing today and a little bit about some of the plants and in the kitchen, just to give you some more kitchen prep ideas that are so useful to me. So the first thing I want to do, let me just turn this around, is just share this. Right, it's a bag of something in it. Well, basically yesterday I made some ginger biscuits, and these are cookies. If you can see, I've frozen them in here. You can see them here. Now, the idea behind it is that I'm always talking about putting food in the freezer. So I made a batch. It's very simple. You can look it up on any search engine anywhere. I love ginger nut biscuits. I use ginger powder and sometimes fresh ginger, even crystallized ginger, which also acts as a sweetener, and self-raising flour, butter, a little bit of golden syrup, sugar, but you can then reduce that to how much or cut it out altogether. I think there was an egg in it as well, a little bit of salt. And you make a really nice dough, and then from that I made little balls. From those balls on a baking sheet, I kind of pressed them down. I put 6 or 7 in the oven for 10 or 15 minutes, and then took them over to mum and dad's house because my mother's fasting, and of course we only eat homemade wherever we can, and that would be a great little snack for her with a cup of tea. And the rest of them, as you can see, I made the balls, put them in trays, put it in the freezer. After half an hour, they were nice and hard, stuck them in a freezer bag, in a plastic freezer bag, and they're in the freezer. And now anybody that comes along to your house and they fancy some biscuits, you don't have to buy the rubbish you get outside. You can just put them in the oven for 10 or 15 minutes and they're done, and they've got these lovely cookies. You can make them crunchy by leaving them in longer. You can have them kind of soft if you want to by leaving them in for a lesser amount of time. Or alternatively, you can cook them in advance so they're crunchy, or cook them then and there and eat them then and there when they're nice and soft. So many things you can do, but you've made them yourself. The other thing I want to share, I've just been on a 5-mile walk. Because I've got lots of things to do, I used the opportunity to walk into the local town here and get a few jobs done for my mum and for myself. And the strangest thing is, when you go with the right intention, you know, it's so important to just keep in your mind, what can you do for others? How can you help others? Because when you do that, the way the mind behind the universe works, which is God, ends up helping you anyway. It's just crazy, but this is always the case. It's an absolute truth. So we wanted to send some funds abroad to needy people. It's something we do in our family a lot. Actually, my mum does it far more than me, but I do it quite a lot now over the last few years. So someone that needs help, these days you can send. The good side of the digital technology is that you can send funds and they'll get it straight away. There's obviously negative sides as well. So I went to do that, but there were 3 or 4 other jobs that I needed to do that were in my head for a while. And the opportunity arose while I was there to get them done that wouldn't ordinarily have happened. I just happened to have all the right paperwork with me, IDs and so on, which I needed for my mother's job. And that's the thing. So I got a 5-mile walk in, did those jobs, and I came back after an hour and a half, and I feel amazing. Now, this is my breakfast because I've not eaten yet, and it's already 2:30 in the afternoon. So I'm feeling a bit peckish now, but I want to show you. So I took this out of the freezer. I found it in a freezer labelled random curry, and I took it out, and it's a nihari. A nihari is a very, very well-known dish in Indo-Pakistani cooking, which is made of the lamb shank, lots of spices, and cooked for hours on end. And I had made this a while ago, and then I froze it. I took it out the freezer yesterday. Didn't know what it was because I'd forgotten to label it. And I can't wait to dig in. I fried some onions in ghee. I eat copious amounts of ghee, which is clarified butter. Look it up. And I stuck that on top. And then I've chopped some green coriander leaves. I'm going to chop up a green chilli, lots of lemon juice, and a little bit of home ground garam masala will go on top. I took a chapati out of the freezer. Again, I'd made these in advance. I stuck it on this tawa. We call it a tawa. It's a hot plate. You can do so much with these tawas. Turned the tawa on just for 5 minutes, left it there to defrost. No microwave, none of that nonsense that damages your body, radiates your body. It's just on this cast iron tawa. 5 minutes, turned it off because it retains the heat. Yes, it's a great holder of heat. So I left it on there and it heated up beautifully. And I'm going to eat that beautiful curry with all the condiments. I put some ginger pieces in there with a chapati, and if I need another chapati, I'll just take it out the freezer. Now, usually these are eaten with a naan, and I make my own tawa naan. I think I shared an image of that with you before, but you don't have to. So I try with every fibre of my being to avoid buying any form of processed food from outside. Like, to me, processed means someone else has cooked it and used the raw ingredients. That's how far I've come to realise that processed food is something that I haven't made from scratch myself. And the only reason I do that is because of the knowledge I've gained over the years, but my health. I've healed what they called a chronic disease where people die, Crohn's disease. I cured my own dis-ease of my body due to stress. And now I'm able to stay in this state of health. And I know what I eat and how I prepare it goes. It's not the only thing, but it goes a long way towards it. I've sat this morning quietly and just contemplated. I could use the word meditated, not meditation, meditated. You can meditate if you want. I went for a long 5-mile walk. I read a little bit, just 10 minutes of scripture. Lots of chores around the house. I've been up on my feet. These are the things that I want to share with you. I haven't sat and I haven't looked at a screen. If you have to do that, I know, but just be aware. That's what I'm saying. Be aware all the time. And I feel amazing. And then this afternoon, I will be out in the garden because it's a fruit day and there's a lot going on a fruit day. There's a lot of things to do in the garden. I can share them with you another time. But for now, remember those okra that I had sown on the heat mat? Well, the heat mat is now turned off. Look how they have germinated. They're a little bit leggy, actually. I'm not sure whether they're meant to be or not, but that normally happens when they're in the dark. They're trying to find the light and they just go. So it might not be best, but I've done it. It is what it is. These are the ones that are chemically, genetically modified to such a high degree from Doha Agricultural Festival. God, it's so hypocritical. And these are ones that aren't so genetically damaged, and these are from India, but they're still not they're not organic heritage. They're from a packet in India. Fewer of them have germinated, but I'm monitoring just to see. I'll put them into individual pots because they are a fruit and it is a fruit day, and I'll put them into individual pots but leave them inside the house where it's still warm. They need a warm climate that only go into the greenhouse when it's very, very warm outside, because that will affect the nature and the size of the fruit. I do talk sometimes like I know what I'm talking about. I've got some idea, but I don't know everything. I just go ahead and do it anyway. And that's the way you need to be. Was there anything else? No, I think that is it. Have a lovely day, and I'll do an early morning video. I'll try and do an early morning video tomorrow for the second part of the talk on cancer. Have a lovely day.